Hey, Janice here, Caribbean Garden Life. Now, I have shared with you my woes about growing squash and all the challenges I have with bugs, caterpillars, butterflies, and powdery mildew. And right now, the caterpillars are in full effect. However, what I have been trying is different ways to protect my squashes. Let me just show you. I've been fashioning row cover, using floating row cover fabric to kind of fashion little bits of tents, which have been good on an individual basis, but I'm growing more squash and it's been successful so far. So I want to grow more squashes. Now I found a way to protect them a little bit more effectively, but I can't keep doing them under individual little tents. So what I've decided to do is to make some row covers, so a little security enclosure using plastic piping, half-inch plastic piping, and also some connectors, three-way connectors that you can see, three-way connectors that I got off Amazon. So that's what we're going to do today. Shouldn't take me very long, should be quite simple to do. I say that thinking I know what I'm doing, but I'm just playing it by ear. It should be fairly simple, I'm thinking, just to cut some plastic piping and fit the tubes, and then put the floating row cover on top. So follow me as I do that. So I always try and use what I have in the garden, and I had some lengths from before of half-inch pipe, but wasn't enough to do what I wanted to do. It was great to do temporary, to do something temporary to try to see if it worked. So I've had to go out and buy some extra lengths. Now I've just bought three 10-foot lengths for now, and my plan will be to cut these in half, so you have two sections, and then have like a narrow tunnel of the old piping I've used to make the tunnel. So it should be pretty straightforward. I just need to find the halfway mark, have my trusted little coping saw, I think, little saw, to cut it in half and see how we get on. Now I'm going to admit I am the worst at guesstimating how big something is. So I know the pipe is 10 feet, that's what they were selling it for, so I just have to measure 5 feet and cut it to get an even, to make sure I get two even pieces. And I'm looking up because the wind is high and I don't want to get hit by a coconut, because trust me, one of those things will take you out. So let me just measure it. So there we go, we've got two 5-foot lengths. Make sure that's still got that right. Yeah, still a little bit out, but nothing too detrimental. See, still got the tops out a little bit, but nothing too detrimental. And what I'm going to be doing is using, as I said, the PVC corners here to make a little frame that can stay in the garden. To stake it, I'm going to be using one of the garden stakes on the corners and some scraps of rebar. Again, I'm going to use up what I have in the garden. So, and I'm going to be using these. I'm going to be using these garden stakes to the legs, because I don't want to go through the expense of cutting the tubes just yet to make legs. I think there's some other ways of doing it. So I'm going to try doing this, or even some pieces of rebar you may have in the garden. So I'm going to hammer that just to give it some stability so it can stake in the ground, because I want to be able to make sure that everything stays securely as much as possible. I've got the main frame, made. It didn't have to be exact. I used the stakes because I already had them available in the garden, but you can use anything you want, rebar, it's a rebar, anything that's a bit sturdier, but I find these a little bit narrower than the actual piping, but it seems to be pretty sturdy. So the next thing will be to get my row cover cloth, and just cut it to fit, and that's the next stage. I already have some row cover that had been cut from a previous use, and I don't really want to cut a brand new piece to go over this. So I'm going to use a piece that I already have fashed together. This is one large piece so far, and I'm going to use some like clips. I got some clips on Amazon that will clip around the posts to help the row cloth stay on. Because you can see it's already blowing by now. So I'm going to fashion it, use the clips, put it together so I have something I can still access and water, but will protect the plants from most of the butterflies and pests we have in the garden. So I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So I fashioned a frame. Looks like it might work. I made it a little larger than I wanted to because it was overlapping 2 rows, almost 3. So it's managed to catch my broccoli, my Chinese cabbage and my pak choy underneath. So we're going to see how that works. Still a bit windy, but the clips are doing their things, and I've also got coconuts holding down the edges in some spots. So we'll see how that works. So as you can see, the heat's getting hot again, getting a little hot. So if you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe, review, share anything you found, and if there's anything you want to know about growing in the Caribbean, just let me know, drop me a message. Until next time, take care.